to race day of round 10 of the FF1M season, coming to you from the forests of Hockenheim in Germany. Here's the map of the circuit, 4 long straights, and in between those straights, chicanes, posing the best overtaking opportunities. In terms of race strategy, we're expecting a 50-50 split between the field, 50% going for 2 stops, 50% going for 3. Nobody even considering the 1, which is quite unusual as the penalty for fuel seems to be quite lower than normal circuits than, let's say, Silverstone. Q1 saw Hamilton top the time sheets by half a second ahead of Sebastian Bourdais and Sebastian Buemi. Both excellent in the top 4, so they've clearly got a quick car. And Pedersen deciding to choose the hard tyres and not working out well for them at all on team boss Michael Pedersen's 31st birthday, at their present not making it into the race, which would be a huge disappointment for Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel. So here's action from the FF2M season, coming from Hockenheim, and getting an absolute flyer was Felipe Massa from 4th on the grid, taking 2nd place. And now he's challenging Luca Filippi for the lead. Filippi started on pole position and he's ahead already before they even reached the first chicane, but Filippi's back in the slipstream. He's going to try and outbrake the Brazilian, and there's contact! Filippi takes Massa out. Now Massa will have to wait until the entire field has gone past. So, controversial incident already, and Zaug taking the lead, and they're all going off at the Os curve, and Di Grassi takes the lead. Now that's extremely handy for him, because he's only 3 points behind Massa in the championship, and if he stays where he is, that'll take a massive chunk and into the championship lead, in fact. But I believe Massa has rejoined the race, and more incidents. On board with, I think, Michael Herc, and ooh, nearly getting into a big shamrock mess there. Here we can see the other AJ in amongst the action. It's like a motorway. And off goes the shamrock. Hard to tell which one that is. It's like a traffic jam on the M1. Now as they come out of the Os curve into the 3rd of the long back straights. Expecting more action. And there's an OLM going up the inside of Espanyol. No collisions. As we see Van der Garde trying to take Chandok for 8th place. Paffit pits, Herc pits. So I think when we were on board with Michael Herc, it wasn't in fact Michael Herc, it was one of the Spaniels, and Mortara makes a scruffy overtake on Kobayashi and not working out. And these two scrapping quite heavily. Mortara was ahead at one point, and now Kobayashi's back ahead. In fact, where's Mortara gone? There's Mortara, he's spun. So that must have been a pretty silly error from Eduardo, because there didn't look to be any contact at all. Into the pits very early comes Lucas Di Grassi. Things looking good for Danish racing. That is a fairly early stop. He rejoins in 6th, just as Felipe Massa sets the fastest lap. He's got Brendan Hartley for Kramer Racing, getting alongside him. So Di Grassi drops down a position to 7th as his teammate leads on lap 7 by 1.9 seconds from Adam Carroll, and 3rd place Vitaly Petrov. Both Kramers going well, 4th and 7th. Degrassi having retaken Brendan Hartley literally just now. And look at that, they're still battling. Degrassi's gone in too fast though, he's off the track and he spins it. Now where's Felipe Massa in relation to Degrassi? There he was. And damage limitation now for Felipe. So far it's working well, although I think he has yet to make a pit stop. So he moves up to 9th place now. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. There's going to be contact. No, there's not. Felipe saw that one coming. He's battling with an OLM, I believe. I think it's Chandok. Massa retaking the position again. So it's 9th place, and you can smell points as we fast forward, and he's up to 5th, having yet to make a pit stop. Still Zaug in the lead from Carroll. Petrov has made a stop, and he's just taken 7th place from Kobayashi at the centre chicane. Battle for 6th place now between Kobayashi and Guerra van der Garde. Kobayashi hasn't stopped, van der Garde has, so the advantage with the Dutchman running behind the Japanese driver. Massa now up to an incredible 3rd after his first lap shunt, with 4th place Felipe in fact. Luca has made a pit stop. And Degrassi's not even in the top 8, so this damage limitation exercise is working extremely well for Massa. Just 9 laps to go. He hasn't stopped yet. Adam Carroll has, and he's just stormed up into 2nd place. Adrian Zaug looking good at the front. Another driver that hasn't stopped yet is Kobayashi in 8th place, and Massa's re-challenging Adam Carroll, even on old tyres, because these long straights give you a tremendous slipstream. That's Petrov taking van der Garde for 5th, and off goes van der Garde. He's overshot the exit of the chicane. 5 laps to go, and Massa makes a pit stop at last. He's rejoined well ahead of Lucas Degrassi. There goes Lucas, there. So it's been an impressive stint from Massa, and now that he's on fresh tyres, he can quite literally storm up to the back of drivers and overtake them if he wishes, which of course he will want to. Battling Yoshimoto and Felipe for 4th place. Look at Petrov trying to take Felipe now. And he's got that exit completely wrong. Don't collide this time, boys. Massa looking to the outside. No, it's the inside into the chicane. My apologies. Up to 5th goes Felipe Massa. He's not done yet. He's got the grip advantage. He's just started his final lap and he's taken 5th. Off Petrov, but Petrov's right behind him going into the first chicane, but it's Adrian Zaug taking the win for Danish racing, celebrating his rise up to FF1M for 2009 with the Danish racing senior team Pedersen. Now we look at the starting grid, with the qualifying session that was completely dominated by Shannon. Maldonado faster than Senna this time by 0.8 of a second, so they've got a tremendous car at the long straights of Hockenheim. Button 3rd, ahead of Alonso 4th, Kubica 5th, all 3 of those drivers on the hard tyres. Hamilton 6th, Genet 7th, Jarno Trulli 8th. Good qualifying from Genet and Trulli. Genet having agreed to a contract extension with Dark Wolf for what will be his final season in 2009. That equals FJR and Jean Alesi's record of 8 seasons in a row. At the back, Alexander Wirtz taking over duties from Nico Rosberg, only down in 20th. So it's the start of the race. 5 lights on, 5 lights out. And let's see how they get into the first corner. Alonso's made a flyer from 4th, and it's Maldonado in the lead. Are we going to see any instance like Pedro de la Rosa's flipping shake and bake? No, not this time. But of course, it's the first chicane where everything kicks off usually. There's a bit of swarming in the back. It's a lot of gear racings, and Senna's had an awful start. He's dropped down to 7th now. And the gear racing tagged the back of Jenson Button there, and we got... Why, Jenson Button nearly tagged the back of Clean, but I saw some traffic jamming in the background. I'm trying to find out who that was. And Senna trying to look at Jenson Button for 4th, and he's got him into the Ost curve. Trulli's had a good start. He's up to 6th place from 8th on the grid. Mitchell desperate for some more points. So in the stadium now, Maldonado with Alonso behind him. Alonso hanging on a little bit for now. Let's see which strategies these guys have gone for. And it is in fact Alonso, the fastest man on the track. Now we look at the start from Alonso's teammate, Wirtz. He got a good launch, but not much room to get through Yanni there. Now what happens at the chicane? Got a fairly long wait. Wirtz takes over PK. He's got some space in front of him. Now on the brakes, a lot of locking up. He's blind, and there goes an AJ, and look at that, he stopped. That's an Andy Racing that spun, and look at that, that was an X-Elite and a Dark Wolf colliding on before the braking zone. They're still scrapping at each other, and storming up the inside goes Neil Yarney, and then Adrian Sutil tags the back of Bourdais, goes for a jolly old spin, and blocking the other X-Elite of Davidson. So yeah, that was the first chicane instant for this season. Last season there was only one. Oh, gear racing! And that was when... Yes, that was when Kubica tagged the back of Jenson Button. And Button less damaged his race from that incident than Kubica did. Robert dropping down to 7th. Storming up the inside goes Jenson Button. He's off the track, his Jenson Button's off, and I think Senna spun it as well. Yes, he did. Senna's dropped out of the top 8. So let's see what happened here. Button went for the overtake, ran a bit wide, and Senna misjudged that a little bit, tagging the back of the Tornado. So all of that, he's going to reshuffle the order. 2 Dodgems fighting it out. Now the 2 Dodgems are on the softer tyres this time. They have switched from the hards to the softs. So they did the opposite of what Pedersen did, and it's clearly worked out. That's a loose wheel for Maldonado. Look at the left front. It's completely wobbling. And he's pulling off the track. Maldonado is out. That is extremely frustrating for the Shannon driver. I saw that wheel wobbling halfway down the straight, and clearly that's a big hazard for him. And out of the race goes the AJ of Takuma Sato, pulling off the track with some sort of technical gremlin. And it's a complete gearbox failure. So this moves Fernando Alonso into the lead, but he's got Clean catching up to him. Now we look at Alexander Wirtz, storming up the inside, carefully don't make contact with the X-Elite in front. That was extremely late braking on the Dodgem of Coulthard, who's trying to have a look back at the FJR driver. Jenson Button looking to fight his way back up the order, chasing after Senna ironically, into the stadium. And he's got him. Button moves up the position at the expense of Senna. We're on board with the shake and bake of Hamilton chasing the Mitchell of Trulli, who is up in 4th at the moment, although by the looks of this straight line speed of the shake and bake, not for very long. That's just engine power. So shake and bake have a very powerful engine this weekend. Meanwhile, Alonso pulled off 0.6 of a second over Christian Klein. And Heifeld being tagged from behind by the Andy Racing, and he's sliding all over the place, and he's spun it. So the other AJ in trouble. Now he must have got tagged from the back. Yes, he did. And he's struggling to control the car. And you can see some damage on the back as well. So a little bit clumsy from the Andy Racing, and Jenson Button's up the inside of an Andy Racing and making a mess of that overtake, and he hasn't even taken that position. And behind him, Senna is looking to get revenge, but there's an Andy Racing in between the two. It looks like Suttill, and Senna storming up the inside of both of them into the Os curve, and Senna taking two positions at once. He caught Jenson Button and Adrian Suttill napping there. Although Jenson taking that position off Adrian into the stadium. And now chasing back after Senna again. Now we got the other Tornado, who's at the moment in 5th, having just overtaken Jarno Trulli for that very position. So Trulli dropping back a little bit. Senna looking at PK for 16th place. Certainly we didn't expect these two drivers to be back down the order after the dominant display that Shannon displayed in qualifying. One of them's out of the race and the other one isn't even in the top 10. Jenson Button taking 17th off PK, and Alexander Wirtz out of the race. So one FJR out. It's a puncture. That'll be nervous news for Alonso. Reliability has been on the fickle side for FJR this season, and last season for that matter. Senna making his way past Buemi, locking it into the Os curve, but no problem. And now Buemi's got Jenson Button to deal with. But Buemi pulling away massively on the straight there. Jenson looked like he was in the slipstream. And in fact, Buemi's challenging Senna into this Senna chicane. That's extremely ironic. Senna's lost the position at his namesake corner. Although Bruno's looking back into the stadium. Nice onboard picture from Jenson Button. Now he's trying to get past the Mitchell. But once again, the Tornado looking down on power. It's not seemed to do his teammate much harm though, who's running in 5th place. In quite a lonely 5th place. He's got Hamilton a little over 2 seconds ahead of him in 4th place. And now Jenson Button's going to try and get a good run out of turn 1. And that looks good to me. Now he's pulling out of the slipstream now. And it's not exactly powering ahead of the Mitchell. Mitchell's running the BMW engine, which is not a bad engine, but it's certainly no Renault. Well, it seems to be going much quicker than the Mercedes in the Tornado. That's the position gained back for Buemi. Meanwhile, lap 9, Alonso leads from Christian Klein by 1.9 seconds. Kubica, the other Guy Racing, in 3rd place, 6.3 behind the race leader. Hamilton 4th, Pantano 5th. Pantano catching Hamilton a little bit. He took 0.4 to half a second out on that lap. Jenson Button just overtaking the Mitchell of Buemi for 13th place. We had a look at David Coulthard then, and he's under pressure from Senna. Side by side into the first chicane. And Bruno just about making the corner. It's very late on the brakes, but taking that position away from the Dodgem. Next target, the X-Elite in front of him. just as long as Coulthard doesn't retake him into the S-curve. And there's contact. Senna's been hit from behind by Coulthard, and that's a wheel off. Senna out. Coulthard out. Let's have a look. Massive slipstream, and look, Senna's shut the door a little bit there, and they were in the braking zone. I have to say, Senna, you should have left him a little bit more space than that. So that's helped Jenson Button a lot. He's gaining positions like nothing else. And 9th place, he's off the track at turn 1. Brake way too late. But he gets on the track without too much difficulty. The X-Elite powering past the Dark Wolf. It's Bourdais taking 6th from Mark Webber. We're in the pit stop sequence now. Clean has made a pit stop because he's dropped down to 4th behind Alonso, Kubica and Genet. And Hamilton up the inside of Webber into the S-curve. Off the track goes Hamilton there. And he's lost the position to Pantano. Dropped down to 8th. Now he's got Jenson Button swarming about. Hamilton's shutting the door. Quite aggressively there, I have to say. Kubica yet to make a pit stop. Now, can he utilise the light fueler to get ahead of Alonso? He is in 2nd, having made a stop. Button powering on the brakes past Hamilton into the stadium. That's 8th place. Niliani up to 4th place, hasn't made a pit stop yet. So it's quite been an impressive run so far from Shake and Bake, the one team in particular that has made quite a lot of gains since the last test. Webber pits as well, that was the driver that was just in front of Button. 5th place Hamilton, rounding the S-curve, and he's misjudged his line completely. There, he's lost it! Hamilton spins. Can he rejoin without damaging the car? Trudging back onto the track. Still in 5th place, no problem. But he's lost a lot of ground, and that's Genet. And up to 5th place goes Marc Genet. Back in the slipstream goes Lewis Hamilton. Can he do anything about that? This is into the stadium, retaking 5th position. So, small drama for Lewis. And now he can restart his chase of Pantano for 4th place. We look at Nelson Piquet, currently running in 13th place. He's got his line wrong at the stadium, smashes head first into the barrier. Frightening impact. Meanwhile, let's look at the two Guy Racings battling for 2nd place. Kubica pulls out of the slipstream. He doesn't care that Clean is ahead of him in the championship. If Kubica can still win it, he can go for it. It's the first chicane. And that was neat and tidy from the Guy Racing pair. So Robert feels he has got the faster car. Can he do anything about that to catch Fernando Alonso? He has to watch out for Clean. And they've touched! The two Guy Racings have touched! And out of the race goes the pair of them! What on earth was that about? I was saying that it was neat and tidy at the first chicane. That was just downright idiotic from the pair of them. Rule number 1 in FF1M, never collide with your teammates. So, this is an identical one to Senna and Coulthard, except Kubica had already made up his mind that I'm defending on the inside. It was a little bit different. More 50-50, but that should never have happened between teammates. I can imagine team boss Guillaume Kramer would be absolutely furious. Let's have a look at it again. They weren't in the braking zone just yet. Yeah. Going briefly into slow-mo. Better get your boxing gloves on, lads. Now we're back to the racing action, on board with Davidson. And he's been shunted up the back by Suttil at the Sachs curve. And he's lost a wheel. Out goes Davidson. Jenson Button's made his way back up the order into 6th place. Now he's challenging the shake and bake of Yanni for 5th. No, he's not. He's gone off the track at turn 1 once again. And he's stopped. He's been told that Bourdais was on the track there. So obviously he had to let him through. We're on board with a Mitchell. And there's the other Mitchell pulling off. Jarno Trulli out. He was looking good for a points finish, and that's just ended it for him. Pulling off in a similar position to Alexander Wirtz just in front of him there. I'd want to get out of there in a hurry in case the car brakes way too late, because that car is very dangerous, but brave Marshall pushing him out of the way. Now Jenson Button's looking to retake that 6th position that he lost when he went off the track at turn 1 at the first chicane. And, oh, there's another collision! Off goes the pair of them, Button and Bourdais. Jenson on the inside of the track. And Bourdais looking to rejoin first. He's trying to rejoin. Now we look at Genet. And he's sparked a little bit there, and he's locked the brakes, and he's spun at turn 1. That's in 3rd place as well. And Hamilton's made a pit stop, I think. So, providing he can rejoin the track. There goes Yanni! Yanni up to 3rd place. A costly error there. And that's an engine failure for Glock, but he decided he wanted to prove a point that he's frustrated, and he just slams into the barrier. Jenson Button. This is on Bourdais. He's still trying to get past him. Up to turn 1 they go. And they're side by side still. This is for a point as well. This is crucial in the championship. And then you can see in front, that's Alonso, who's put a lap on Adrian Suttil, who's currently running in 7th. Button out brakes, Bourdais into the first chicane. He's successful this time. Well done, Jenson. But the X-Elite has the far more superior engine. And look at that. Just, I would imagine he'd just done a cheeky little wave at him. He just breezed past him. But Jenson's going to try again. Once again into turn 1. And he's successful. Now, can he stay ahead enough? It's a very, very long straight. And you can see already Bourdais is overtaking him. Button's just defenceless when it comes to the straights. So he has to, ideally, he would have to make the move into the stadium and just pull away. Because on the straights he has no chance. Meanwhile, with 10 laps to go, Alonso leads from Pantano, Hamilton, Yanni. So it's shake and bake running 3 and 4 and Button taking Bourdais for 8th. Hopefully that will be the last time for Jenson Button's sake. So shake and bake's running 3 and 4. It's been a very impressive race for them. In fact, they'd still had some pit stops to go. Hamilton's dropped down to 5th. And a battle between Suttil and Bourdais. Suttil's gone wide at the chicane. Bourdais avoiding contact this time, but he's gone off himself and he's lost that position to Suttil. So a very scrappy scrap in the favour of Suttil. Yanni currently running in 6th place. And he's ran wide at the stadium. Oh, he's spun it! Yanni in 6th. And, oh, he's stuck. He needs to engage reverse gear. And Hamilton's chasing Genet for 3rd place. We've only got a few laps to go. Alonso has a 49 second lead over Pantano. He's just driven away from them and avoided the chaos. But it's his battle for 3rd place that has our attention now. Genet defending aggressively from Hamilton. Hamilton pulls out the slipstream. And look behind him, there's Jenson Button in 5th. So it's been a great fight back from him, if a little dogged. And Hamilton has got him. Genet down to 4th, although he's still right behind the Shake and Bake. But the Shake and Bake looks like a better engine than the Mercedes in the Dark Wolf. And Genet can't do anything about it. Hamilton looks set for 3rd. Meanwhile, he's stayed out of the chaos, took control of the race when Maldonado lost his wheel very early on. And it's just been plain sailing for Fernando Alonso, taking victory for FJR. I should mention that he's without a drive next season as well, so he'd be a great driver to have. A high attrition rate, only 9 cars finishing. And Nick Heidfeld extremely close to the points there. Pantano 2nd, Hamilton 3rd. Good result for Dark Wolf, 4th and 6th for Genet and Webber. Button sandwiching the Dark Wolves in 5th place. Sutil 7th and Bourdais completing the points in 8th. Surely the moment of the race, the 2 Guy Racings colliding. No wonder they're not teammates next season. Kubica is off to FJR. So Jenson Button takes the lead of the championship now, thanks to Cleon's horrendous collision, but FJR's Fernando Alonso only 12 points behind in 3rd place. He is a threat. It looks like a constructors' battle between Tornado and Guy Racing though. Alonso being FJR's sole point scorer. We'll see you at the next race at the Hungaroring.